Veterans Voice is a show that connects veterans and active members of the military to qualified guests who help you find programs and benefits you qualify for and discuss housing, education, career training, and other topical matters. Every show addresses issues that affect your life. Each week, Veterans Voice will begin with a story from one of our veterans about his or her experiences in the military. We want to thank these veterans for sharing these stories with us.
I'm so glad that you could join us for this special edition of Veterans Voice Network's Career Combat, Life After the Military. Allow me to introduce myself. Sir, Master Sergeant Charlie Duquette, 25 years in the Marine Corps hasn't affected me one bit. Sir, Well, before going any further, we have to come to terms with the words career and combat. I turned to Noah Webster's American Dictionary and found out that career connotates the sense of running. Many of our earliest military memories and our fondest memories does the same thing, because we hear that small, still voice, still that cadence calling us. Up in the morning before the sun, gonna run till the running's done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, on active duty, our career was a course of action and movement continuously. Now, the word combat is used to denote a private contest or struggle between two people, kind of like a duel. I guess, you could apply Webster's definition to meritorious promotion boards or, in the civilian sector, your final big job interview. Military veterans answered the call of duty and they signed a contract up to and including their lives for their country, to serve their country. You, along with your family, are about to or are in transition right now. And when you get released, you enter into career combat. You have to be prepared for that. This makes going to boot camp look kind of easy in comparison. And that civilian battle space is totally different from what you were accustomed to while you're on active duty. First of all, we never woke up in the morning and asked ourselves, gee, what should I wear today? I mean, we just kind of knew what fashion statement to make, and it never went out of style. And we transitioned. There's a lot of changes. We're transitioning from job security backed by the United States government contract to employee at will and job insecurity. Our benefits package started with 4 weeks of paid vacation, which we called leave. And when you were off, you and your family could fly free anywhere in the world. The health and dental plan, well, you couldn't beat them. Why? Because it was no-cost health care, and if it was a service-connected situation, you ended up getting tax-free compensation, health care, and benefits for life. Whoa, so now we go from free health care to the Unaffordable Health Care Act 2, Scene 3. Even our shopping experience changes from tax-free and almost 20% savings on everything in the store or in the commissary to, I'm sorry, but we don't offer a veteran's discount, but thank you for your service. Even your living conditions change from rent-free on-base housing or just off-base with affordable housing. Now it's first, last, security deposits with no supplemental housing allowance to pay rent on an apartment that you just can't afford. That's about 2 hours drive to a place you really don't want to work at, but you can't afford not to take it for now. Or worse, you are forced to take or execute the Homestead Act. You know what I'm talking about. That option is you move back home with mom and dad who haven't changed anything in your room since you left. How bad is it? It's very stressful to move across country, to relocate from the West Coast to the East Coast, to find a new home, to enroll and go to a college, get your GI Bill started, start your part-time jobs, get the kids into a new school system, and deal with road rage on the way to your first big interview, all in your first week. If you were to sum up this experience, the one word that comes to my mind is the word institutionalized. I mean, I picture that old black and white movie of the prisoner leaving as he's walking out of the prison, and the gates open up, and he turns around to the guard that he's known for 35 years, and he says, "Hey, Bob, do I really have to leave?" I mean, you're laughing at this, but institutionalization is a gradual thing that happens to you over years. But now you're in this, it's exciting, it's super stressful, and it's to be honest with you, it's a very scary situation. But, you know, you can't let anybody around you know that, because like with your battle buddies, they were counting on you to lead them home. For example, I was an infantry squad leader. I was a combat service support chief. I went on to become an education counselor, a career planner, inspector, instructor, and a Marine Corps recruiter, as well as a transition assistance program trainer. And during lunch, it was expected of me to be an environmental health and safety officer, so be careful out there. Having multiple billets and collateral duties is not unique. It's part of overcoming and adapting, which we're trained to do. Now, you're transitioning back into civilian life with training and education, knowledge, skills, and abilities, and motivation to accomplish any career objective. That's what you bring to the job. Most of you are not looking to get a job, because honestly, I think JOB stands for just over broke. You can get a job any day of the week. As a veterans employment representative, for example, my vets are asked basically this question. And I tell them, you know, I'm not here to promise you a rose garden, but I will guarantee you 105% success. Education, training, work experience, none of that matters. Money is no object. I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to make the call right now. You got 10 seconds. Tell me what you want to do with the rest of your life. Go ahead. You know, I've been doing this for many years, and to people and getting those kind of reactions, and they're coming from all different walks of life. And the results are consistently 90% of all the job seekers I ask that question to in that way really don't know what they do. They say, I don't know. They're in shock. And then they say, I don't know. I have found that only about 10% of the people that I've asked in all the different areas say anything. But most of those 10% will say, I want to stop world hunger, or I want to help people. Okay, could you narrow that down a little bit? Literally, less than 1% have an immediate response, and they can tell you exactly and articulate what their occupation is. We talked about it. Do you really want a job? Not really. I think that you want to be able to combine your occupation and your passion, put them together, and have your occupation. So what is your occupation? Let me illustrate it this way. My occupations are coaching, counseling, possibility thinking, teaching, training, and motivating fellow veterans. And you know what? I get to do that every day so that I can help move them along that road to success. And I literally love what I'm doing. And here's how you know you have a career-fulfilling position, by the way. Friday, it hits you. Oh my God, they pay me to do this. So that's your acid test. And you know, I think about it, you know, every call I get from a veteran is an adventure, every meal's a feast, and every paycheck that my veterans get is a fortune of fulfillment for both of us. It just doesn't get any better than that. Honestly, during my time in the Corps, I never had a job. I had multiple military occupational specialties, or MOSs, but I'd never had a job. I had a duty to perform, and that's a big difference. You know, many employers don't get it. They don't understand that distinction, the uniqueness of military service. You kind of have to break it down to employers, because you have to go from military ease to civilian ease. And that's quite a transition. And the employers, they often don't know a lance corporal from a lieutenant colonel, and that's because their worldview is 9 to 5, and it's corporate America, and it's not career combat for them. It's just a job. How can I illustrate this? Okay, how about this? Picture this. I'm a platoon sergeant. My lieutenant comes up to me, he goes, We're going to have to take your squad and you're going to have to go up that hill and take that ridge line with those machine gun nests on top. I look at my watch. I said, sir, my watch is telling me it's quitting time. So if my boys are going to go take that hill, I'm going to have to get double time and a half. Or I'm going to have to call my shop steward and we're going to have a wildcat strike. Sir, it's simple. Many employers just don't get it. You can't punch out in the middle of a firefight. Your situation is now that you and your family are in a very stressful transition and you're entering into career combat. Your new mission is to obtain a career-fulfilling position to provide for you and your family. You're going to execute your career combat mission by using everything that you learned during your time in the service. You just got to remember there's a great chasm between knowledge on one side and wisdom on the other. Let me tell you a story. I was waiting for a friend of mine at Berklee School of Music in Boston. You're probably familiar with it. In the waiting area was this large open space, and I couldn't help but notice this beautiful baby grand piano. And there was a woman sitting there, and she was very busy with music sheets flying, and she was writing notes feverishly. So I got very curious, and I kind of like did a Columbo on her. And I said, excuse me, ma'am, can I ask you, I hate to interrupt you, but what are you working on? It seems so interesting. And here's what she said. I'm preparing my dissertation to get my PhD in music. I can read and write music. I know every oscillation per second of every sharp and flat on this keyboard, and I'm studying all the great composers. I said, wow, that's very interesting. Who are you studying right now? And she looks up, she says, Beethoven. I said, well, could you play me a few bars of that? And she looks up at me and says, oh no, I can't play the piano. Whoa. Now, let me ask you, was that woman very knowledgeable about music? Of course she was. But knowledge is the accumulation of facts. But wisdom is the ability to apply that knowledge to the keys of life and make beautiful music. When you're leaving the military, you suffered a great loss. Not only in your position and maybe some of those that you served closest with, but also you're losing a very special way of life. And you're kind of going through the 5 stages of grief. And remember that first stage when it hit you? Wow, I'm getting out. I'm being reinserted into the civilian atmosphere, and this re-entry is heating everything up. And then another stage, psychic hotline, here we go. Many of you were recently on a river cruise in Egypt. That's right, you were on denial. Come on, fess up. You know, this ain't happening to me. But all of our favorite stage seems to be anger. I remember going to my first military job fair. And remember, you hear the same radio ad all the time. I could write it, I can repeat it. It's burned into my memory. Dress for success. Bring plenty of resumes and be ready to interview on the spot. Check, check, check. So I get there, I'm squared away. I got my quick draw valise with my resumes at the ready. I tacked the first employer's table, and with my self-marketing pitch, I'm ready to deliver it. And before I could shake her hand and give her my resume, I stopped and noticed something very peculiar. This 20-something HR generalist had a small white plastic ring, and it was protruding out of her waistline. I'm like, what's going on? She pulls the string and lets it go and says, you must apply online. Here is our website. And I'm like, whoa, what's this? The Stedford Wives, you know? Couldn't believe it. That day, I actually kept track, and about 90% of the employers there wouldn't even take my resume. And of course, the 10% that would take my resume, as I was about to do an about face and leave, they said, and remember, make sure you apply online on our website. I'm like, whoa. So I entered into my favorite stage, anger. You know, I was upset. I was steaming. I entered into a nearby McDonald's that was just around the corner, and I walked up to the kid at the register at the counter, and I noticed that he had his like jaunty little McDonald's cap pulled down over his cranium. I mean, he couldn't have made eye contact if he wanted to. So I say to him, "Hey, kid, I want to apply for a job here. Could you get me an application?" Doesn't even look up. All this kid does is he steps back and he raises his hand and his fingers pointing. And I'm looking at the kid and I'm like, what are you, the ghost of Christmas past? What's up with this? And I decide to look where he's pointing, and there it is, a Ronald McDonald cutout surrounding a computer, and it says, "Hey, boys and girls, apply online on our computer." I can't even work for a clown without applying online. Who would figure, I know what you're thinking. You're saying, "Hey, Master Sergeant, thanks so much for sharing with us what a difficult transition mission that we have. But could you please give us the battle plan on how we're going to accomplish our career combat mission, if you could, please?" I'm so glad that you asked me that, because we talked about what is your situation, what's your mission, your objective, and how are you going to execute that? What kind of administrative support, logistics, whatever you need, how's that going to help you to basically say, "I'm good to go and I'm going to accomplish this mission"? You got to have a plan. In the military, we don't, "Hey, let's get together, let's mill about smartly, get your guns, you might want some bullets, and we're going to go out there until we make contact with the enemy, and then we're going to figure out what are we going to do." So you want to have a plan. You got to have a mission. It's simple. Execution starts with your Member 4 copy of your DD-214. That gives you head of the line priority of service at over 2,500 career centers spread out across the United States. And every one of them will have a Veterans Employment Representative, formerly called a DVOP or a leaver, but that's what they're going to do for you. And they are ready and willing to serve all of your employment and your training needs, and be able to network with employers that they already have relationships with. Because remember, after all, it's not what you know, it's who you know. In today's day, it's who knows you on LinkedIn, so I hope you're on there. Administrative support. Y'all need the administrative support. Now it's primarily on a computer in the digital market space, if you will. Veterans Voice Networks, or VVN, can answer any and all your questions. Why? Because if we don't know, we know somebody else in the network that does. And that's what it comes down to. And I personally have over 1,800 veteran-friendly employers and service providers that I know on a first-name basis. And I can give you that referral, introduction, support that you need to find that career-fulfilling position. But I'm only one spoke in a wheel. And VVN, the power isn't me or just one person. It's that whole networking wheel that we use that is vet-based. So it's trying to help veterans and their families in transition to fill an unfulfilled need, in this case in employment and training, or whatever you need. And it's about that trusted vet service provider that we have vetted, and that is what makes the wheel turn around as you get back on that road to success. So you're standing by, you're waiting for the command. You got all your intel, you're ready to go into that digital battle space, if you will. Well, that's exactly what we do. We do it through the internet, web-based sites, social media applications, whatever it takes, whatever your flavor is. And that's what basically keeps our referral net humming, churning, and burning. This is all based on our universally shared military belief that we don't leave any veterans or anyone behind. And it's simple: veterans helping other veterans achieve their career combat mission. And stay tuned, because we're going to have a segment where we just recently conducted a Hire Our Heroes Expo job fair and event at Fenway Park.
can't tell you how honored we are to be here at Fenway Park with the Boston Red Sox to host this special event, this hiring event to help our veterans and transitioning service members, our members of the Guard and Reserve, and their spouses find meaningful employment opportunities. This is the 4th year we've done this event, and I can't tell you that there is no finer partner than the Boston Red Sox to host one of these events. So let's give the Red Sox a special round of applause. We have also had some great employer partners, many of whom you'll hear from here in a second.
Here we are, Greg Brasso, with our good friends, Eric from the Chamber of Commerce, here to talk about the Hiring a Hero event. And Eric, what a great event we've had today.
Yeah, absolutely great event. We have over 80 employers here today. Looks like we got about 300 veterans from here in the Boston area that have shown up looking for some great career opportunities. You look around, these are some highly, and it's no surprise, but these are some highly skilled and qualified people to bring into your workforce, and so it's just been a really special day, and the Red Sox have, as always, have been a class act to really help us make today happen. Well, you look around these employers, these are about long-term career opportunities. They're about finding just not a job, but finding something that's going to bring some long-term economic benefit to that young service member and their family, and so it's a great group of employers. Bottom line, value proposition,
and it's all about that.
Yeah, and it's what's great about our country and the way we do business. But at the end of the day, it's about bringing incredibly talented people into their workforce, because we know American businesses succeed or fail based on the backbone of their incredibly talented workers. And I can't think of a better person to bring into your workforce than a veteran or a military spouse.
Well, and it seems really there's some highly qualified veterans walking around here, very professional, and it really makes you feel that you're really making a difference in all of these folks' lives that are here.
No, there's no doubt about it. And what I really like about an event like today is it's not just about finding folks jobs. There are jobs here for service members that are trying to figure out what they want to do. But there's also some long-term career opportunities. And a lot of people showing up today aren't unemployed. They may be underemployed, or they're just looking for that next great career opportunity, meeting some great companies here in the Boston area, and start the networking process. And that's what today is about. It's about finding people jobs that need jobs, but let's also get some careers for those who want some long-term careers.
Eric, thank you so much.
Appreciate all your service.
I really appreciate all your help and lending all your support to Veterans Voice Radio.
It's my honor. Thank you.
Anything we can do to help. Thank you so much.
It's now my pleasure to introduce the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Department of Labor, Terry Gerton.
I have to tell you, it's a great time to be a veteran job seeker. Our veterans unemployment rate right now is at the lowest it's been in 8 years.
Greg Brasso, your host of Veterans Voice Radio, here at Fenway Park with Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Department of Labor, Terry Gerton. Terry, thanks so much for coming down today and joining us at this great event.
Greg, thanks so much for having me here today. This is a wonderful opportunity, and thanks for engaging your listeners on behalf of Veterans Employment. I was so impressed. Over 400 registered job seekers, that's amazing, and 80 plus employers all committed to hiring veterans. You don't get a more efficient way of matching job seekers and employers than one of these Hiring Our Heroes events. For companies to participate, they have to have jobs that they're willing to hire for on the spot. They have to be willing to interview on the spot. And for registered job seekers, if they registered in advance, the employers got to screen their resumes, so they knew who they were looking for. And in practice, most of these events have about 10% on-the-spot hiring opportunities, so that's pretty impressive. Most of these employers now are experienced with Hiring Our Heroes, and they believe that hiring veterans is not just a duty, but it's good business sense. Veterans come with all the soft skills, people skills, leadership skills. They know how to come to work on time. They know how to get a job done when it's supposed to be done. And so companies have come around to understanding that those are the kind of things they can't train. They can train a veteran on the specifics and the technical aspects of a job, but to have them come with that suite of leadership skills is irreplaceable, so it makes great business sense. One of the things we know that is a best practice for businesses that want to be veteran friendly is to create a veterans affinity group. Sometimes it happens sort of organically, but often it can happen with corporate leadership. And as veterans get to know other veterans in the business, they develop mentorship opportunities, and they help the new veterans adapt to the corporate culture and really improve retention. You know, the Veteran Information Network doesn't stop when folks take off their uniform. So within the veteran community, those employers who are veteran friendly are well known and the reputation precedes them. And so veterans are always looking to go not only to a place that's going to challenge them with a great career opportunity, but they want to go someplace where they're going to be valued. And so companies that build a reputation for valuing veterans, offering them career advancement, promotion opportunities, training opportunities, taking care of them, that reputation gets around.
And that would, I'm sure, trickle down to that veteran's family as well, who I'm sure also is a benefit, maybe a secondary benefit for all the great work that's going on here.
Well, absolutely. There's a whole organization that DoD supports called the Military Spouse Employment Program. So I think they have nearly 300 companies who are committed to hiring military spouses while their service member spouse is still on active duty. But even once they leave active duty, then the military spouse has an opportunity to get in with those companies who begin to understand the value that a military family can bring. And having stable employment is so important for the well-being of the family. You know, folks who leave the military who've had that camaraderie, who've understood that career advancement, they want to go on and continue to do great things. That's why you have so many organizations that recognize veterans as an asset to their community, not just to their company, but to their community. And you see more and more veterans moving into community leadership opportunities, volunteer service opportunities. It's all a part of the whole person, the whole family wellness. There's no single characteristic of a veteran, right? Every veteran is unique, but they all have sort of common attributes. So everybody's looking for something a little different. Everybody's got different skills, different personal objectives, but they all come at it from this background of teamwork, camaraderie, mission accomplishment, and a lot of technical training and expertise as well.
And it seems like you're also preparing this veteran before they're discharged to begin thinking about the life after, not just waiting till the day after and what comes next, because it seems like there's a lot of preparation involved to go into a new career.
Well, you're absolutely right, Greg. And so the partnership with the Department of Defense is all about the Transition Assistance Program. Now, as of 2013, every separating service member has to go through that class. It's now mandatory. And the Department of Labor teaches a 3-day employment workshop to begin to help people think about the process of transition and what it means, what a resume looks like, what using online resources looks like today, how to prepare for an interview. So they get an introduction to all of that. And then we try to follow up again in partnership with DoD through their installation transition service managers and also their local workforce system job centers where they can continue to get one-on-one support for them. The great thing about that is for as long as they are a job seeker, might be right when they transition, might be again 20 years later, might be again when they're 55, the workforce system is always there for them and can support them at every step of the way, and it's always free.